Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening and also for completing the poll. My name is Bhumisha and I work as a manager for college counseling and student success with Gen Next Education. I would like to start this session with a very brief account of who we are as an organization. We will further move into the main event of the evening with our experts, and then we hope to leave ample time for the question and answer sessions. I would request you to kindly post all the questions that you have in the Q&A box that you can see at the bottom of your screen. Thank you. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with who we are at Gen Next, so we are an international education organization based in India and North America. We work with the students and their families and provide them free and comprehensive counseling services. We help students in finding the right fit universities and the right fit bachelor's, master's, and PhD programs. We work with the high schools and colleges across India and Middle East and collaborate with them by providing the range of services that we have in counseling and global education needs. We represent a robust group of international universities and work closely with their admission offices. The further information about our university partners is available on our website. You can go through that and do feel free to reach out to us in order to get more information. I'm pleased to share that some of the representatives from our partner universities have also joined us this evening. I'm also joined by my colleagues in the undergrad team, Ms. Eddie, who is the Director for Global Engagement and is based in the US, Ms. Palak Chug and Ms. Chandra Majumdar, who are Manager for College Counseling and Student Success, and they're based in India. I'm just having a glance at the poll results that you all have submitted. And so the question that we had asked to the attendees was, what are the main stressors for you? Because we are discussing about anxiety and stress, it will be wonderful to know what are the main points which are right now bothering you right now, that the reasons for your anxiety and stress. Of course, we cannot cover all of them, but we had given 6 major options. And the top 3 options are uh, the uncertainty of next academic calendar, which is really valid. The other one is discomfort with online learning or limited resources, again. And the third major point is health safety due to COVID-19. So these are, I think, wonderful reasons and information for our panelists and especially the speakers to know, and then talk to the attendees more about that. All this information, which is not only distressing, but also important to discuss. And the fact that we all are here today to discuss them is an acknowledgement of the unprecedented challenges and uncertainty that the global pandemic has introduced into our lives. The good news is that we have acknowledged the fact that we are facing these challenges, and now it is the time to take constructive actions. So we are very pleased to share and to have our speakers for this session today, Ms. Chetna Sabhrawal and Dr. Suman Trivedi, who will discuss with us the proven strategies and some techniques that we can adopt in our day-to-day life to combat anxiety and stress. Renowned for her expertise in mathematics, career counseling, and education abroad, Ms. Chetna Sabhrawal has worked with some of the best schools across India and several national education bodies. Ms. Chetna is Head of College Guidance and Placements at Bodhi International School, Jodhpur. Dr. Suman has acquired deep understanding in the field of counseling, health, and wellness. Through her doctorate in clinical psychology and decades of experience of working with the students and families, Dr. Suman is associated with Delhi Public School, Bopal in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Before I turn this session over to our speakers, I would like to remind everyone To keep your microphones muted, and please post the questions into the Q&A box that you see at the bottom of the screen. Over to you, Ms. Chetna. Thank you.
Not saying to watch news. I'm not saying to be constantly on social media to find about that what is going around. This could be distressful. I mean, it can be very stressful for all of you. So don't do that part. Only thing is that you need to understand that, okay, if this situation has arise, so what best I can do with my capabilities, with my talent, with my skills. That's very, very important for all of. Then comes responsible decision making. So whenever you are making decisions, so people talk about mostly that you have one right path and another wrong path and you have to choose between two. No. As teenager, as a profession, or maybe you're working in any profession, so there would be situations where there could be two wrong paths or two right paths. You have to see that what would be the consequences of these two paths in my particular ability, in my particular skills, in my particular situation, what could be the best thing which I can do in that situation. That is responsible decision making, I would say that. Because it does not matter that you are I mean, you decide about your party, you decide about your wardrobe, that what you're going to wear, that is also decision making. But then responsible decision making comes to this. So are you aware of the values which float around in your ecosystem? That's very, very important for all of us to understand. So making constructive choices about your personal and social behavior is very, very important. And that's where your whole when you write your personal essays in colleges, it will come out in that, if you are aware of this particular fact, that what decision did you make when you were when you were in certain situations. And the last one of this whole circle or whole sphere is relationship skills. So forming positive relationships, working in teams, dealing with conflicts constructively, which is very, very important. And that's where, now if suppose I'll give you why I'm one example of it, that why social and emotional learning, why people are talking about this. So somewhere the other day I was attending one webinar with one of the university, and this professor spoke about mood learning. Now mood learning is something that if I see, and it's a very simple fact which we may not have actually identified till now, but I'm very intrigued by this particular term of mood learning, and definitely I'm going to work more on that, because it's directly related to you learners. So, and you can see that sometimes you see certain colors. Now if you see the screen, so the colors are looking good, okay, it's like something attractive which you are seeing. If suppose I have taken the screen or this presentation as a very black and white thing, which does not have this color, which is not highlighted, definitely your mood will go off and you will be off this particular webinar or this session, and you are not listening to me. That's one simple example I can give you, but then there is much more to this particular social emotional learning. So when I'm going into a class, or when I'm going into, and for an educator, it is very important to understand this particular fact of it. So am I checking on the fact that my learner is ready? That's very, very important. And that's where you as learners also have to check that if I'm going to attend particular class, or I'm going to attend particular session, so have I done some kind of a homework, that okay, am I going to ask some questions to the presenter or to the teacher? That's very important for all of us to understand. I hope I've been able to give you some aspect of social and emotional learning here. I mean, given the time frame for us, it's very difficult, but then I hope I've tried my best. Now coming to the reflections, now because when I'm talking about to the students who are mostly in grade 11 and 12, that's what I came to know from the organizers. So now this is very important for all of us to do that. What is my semester reflection? You have done some work, you are going to do some work. So, and categorize it into academic, out of school, and personal. Now when you say academic, so what were my grades? So, and then this is the coolest time for all of you to work on your grades, that okay, if I was not able to do something in mathematics or English or maybe business studies, so let me see where my weak areas are. That's where your self reflection will come from, your self management will come from. Now, what topics did I enjoy? Definitely, please understand the fact that even if you're going to study in a doctorate degree or undergrad or postgrad, there will be certain sections which you will not like it. So I, being a maths educator and a psychology graduate, I do not enjoy much of the section which is arithmetic. I love geometry and I love the abstract concept of things. So that is where, right? So you have to understand that there would be certain areas which you will love and certain areas which you have to do. And that's where your coping with emotions should come from. Now, what study strategies work for me? This is a whole gamut of learning styles which we psychologists talk about, and I'm pro learning styles because that's where you will understand yourself more. That whether you learn with by reading, writing, or visualizing certain things, or maybe drawing, that is what you have to understand, and what did not work. So that is also important in when you are talking about your academic performance or academic rigor, or you want to improve upon that part. Now, what could I do to improve these next semester? So are you doing the goal setting right now, that okay, this is what where I was standing and where I'm going to move? Now, I'm presuming that most of my attendees understand the number line, which is of which has negative and positive numbers in it, and there is a zero in between. Okay, so you have to see, keep a check on yourself, that where do I stand currently. And I'm saying, when I'm saying currently, means we're not giving you a holistic assessment of yours. You have to do it yourself. It's kind of a self coaching which has to happen with all of you. That okay, if I'm standing at -5 right now, so what could be the 5 steps to reach to zero, so that I am in tandem with my goals. That's where. So how much effort did I put towards these grades? That's very important for all of you to understand. Now, out of school, once my academic calendar is done, or maybe my online learning is done in this particular current situation, so what other activities am I involved in? So are you learning some music? Are you learning some calligraphy, photography, whichever, whatever you want to learn as your hobbies, you should do that. Now, what did I learn from these experiences? It's kind of a hit and trial thing. So if you will understand the vaccine, which right now the scientists on across the world are trying, so it's a kind of a hit and trial. And same thing goes with your hobbies and interests, because it keeps on changing. If I have not been exposed to, let's say, guitar, so whether I enjoy it or whether I do not enjoy it is something I will not learn until I have tried on it. So that's where you have ample time to do it. So you can try it out and see that what extra thing you are doing. But we call them extra, but they are also the part of my personal development, my personal improvement also. So if suppose I want to learn a language which I like, so I can learn a language, which is possible for us because there are a lot of free resources available to all of us. Now, what did I learn from these experiences? So no experience, in my understanding, is a negative experience. You learn, you grow, and that is where your growth mindset comes from. That okay, if suppose, so even if you fail in your one of the semester, it is a learning that how not to fail. Okay, next time. So that is what you have to be very understanding. Now, it comes easy. There would be people around you who would be telling you that you have not done well, but ultimately it is your rigor, it's your will, it's your determination which is going to help you out in particular situation. So when I'll just come to the next slide also now. Yeah, because I think I'm taking too much of time. Okay, now levels of reflections. Now, when we talk about level of reflection, so this is the next step when you have done your goal setting. So that remember, what did I accomplish? So did I complete? So you can make a diary and just keep on writing in that whether I accomplish whatever I decided for myself. So if you will talk about me personally, so I have my whole Google Calendar where I put my tasks and reminders and events to manage things. And until and unless I know that I can do it and how difficult or how easy it is, I would not suggest it to anyone else. That's where, so you have to do that. What did I accomplish? Now, next is understand what is important about what I did. So if I suppose I have missed my class, let's say. So was it important for me to miss the class particularly at that particular time because I have different priorities? So it is okay that if you miss your class, you can just send a simple message to the person that, okay, I could not do it because of that reason, because communication is very important in your reflection. Next is apply. Now, where could I use this again? So if suppose I have learned something today, so where I can use it again, that's where you should do that. And it's kind of a Bloom's taxonomy, which I'm talking about here, which the educators use for you, for the learners, but then it is actually applicable in our real life also, in everyday situation. Now analyze, are there patterns in my work, in my behavior? Now this is where you will, if you start analyzing yourself, you will completely understand your emotions. So there would all be, when we talk about anxiety, when we talk about workload, when we talk about mismanagement of time, this is where you have to work on finding out your patterns, that okay, where am I going wrong? And now, normally we expect somebody else to do for us, but no, it has to be your priority. It has to be your prerogative that, okay, you are going to work on this particular part. The day you decide about it, that's where your progress will start. And I'll give you a very simple example. There are hundred of motivational coaches, life coaches, who are talking about everything, and you must be listening them on social media also. And you listen to it and you just shut it down, and then you are again the same person. So self-awareness and this analytical skills will be very important for all of you to understand that where my pattern is going. So, and you can start consciously working on that pattern, okay, that you have to break that pattern if it is not constructive for you people. Okay, then evaluate, how well did I do? Now, what could be done differently? So I am not sure whether any one of you have attended any course on Coursera or edX or anywhere. So now people are, when talking about the assessments, so the assessments are more of the peer assessments. So when I am writing something for myself, I'm also taking care that I am doing some assessment for other two peers of mine which are doing the same course for me. And this is a wonderful thing which I feel that, okay, you are actually trying to critically review yourself also when you're checking somebody else's paper or some assessment of that. So that's where, and you are able to evaluate, okay, this is where I could not do something. I mean, there is a area of improvement for me, and that's where your evaluation comes from. And the last one would be extend. How can I use this knowledge in future work? Now, when you are learning any subject, when you are doing anything, any community services, given my experience of life and work, I would say that there was nothing which I could not use in my present situation, or maybe I'm going to use that in future also. So if I've done something in fashion designing, I could help my students in understanding that what fashion designing would look like in future. So what you can do is that you extend that, okay, that if you are doing something, say you have learned some language, you have learned some subject, is it going to be applicable to any other area of my work? Yes, it would be. If you have learned it and if you have taken certain skills like research, analytical, critical, communication, creativity from there, and you can apply those skill set to any place, whichever way, wherever you are going. Now, when people talk about courses, colleges, and universities, that where am I going to land up? I, as a career counselor, I, as a psychologist, I always tell them, I don't know. I'm only going to tell you that what all you can do best right now in this situation to move further so that you can fit into any place. Okay. When I'm saying fitting into is making the right fit to that place. That is what you people have to remember. So what have I discovered about myself as a learner is very, very important for levels of reflection. Can we have the last, I think, last slide? Yes. So this is my favorite, very colorful. And if you will see that it has a Telegram, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook, everything. Okay. Now, why it is important for all of us to stay connected? I'm not saying to get addicted, but stay connected, because so that you are staying relevant also. So the best way for you people right now would be that you active on LinkedIn to find out that, okay, what other people are doing, connect with the right kind of people, have a right kind of network, so that you are not left behind. And with this particular thought of mine that I always write, which in my emails also, that you stay safe and stay relevant. I rest my case here, and I hope I've been able to give you certain things for yourself. Thank you.
That was nice, Chetna. It was nice hearing you. And I think most of the points you've already covered, but still I'll just elaborate the clinical aspect of what I want to share about. See, everybody's just asking that what is anxiety, what is stress. I think these are the certain keywords which exist in all of us life. We just cannot we cannot imagine a life without no stress and no excitement and no anxiety. So, but yes, when this emotions are basically negative emotions. So if this emotions is ruling onto your body for a longer duration of time, then it's going to affect in the longer run onto your physical health. So let's consider, it's absolutely normal to face anxiety and stress in our life. But whenever this emotions or interferes with your daily functioning, like for example, I'll narrate that, I'm walking on a road and suddenly I was just saved from an accident. So what happens that I keep thinking about it. There are many people who keep thinking about it, that, oh, I just saved. If it could have hit me, I would have been in the bed, maybe in a bed, or maybe in a hospital, or maybe I would not be in this world itself. So all these questions, when keep bagging you for days and number of days, it's going to affect your entire your body functioning. So these is not considered normal. So once a situation or an event happens in anyone's life, and you're out of you we have to come out of it. We cannot be into that situation even for number of days. So if but there are people who have a who cannot leave that situation, and they keep thinking about it again and again. So that is not normal. You just come across a situation, you're back to again normal with when you face another situation. So being normal when you are again and again in rotating into the same situation, it's not normal. So but let's see that it's your daily function is not affected. Next slide please. Okay. See, there are a lot of ways to manage stress, but here I will be covering the 4 beautiful skills that basically help any individual to combat with your stress. The very first thing is become aware. So how can we become aware? So anything that is happening around you. Let's say I'm having a headache, so I just ignore. Okay, it's just a minor headache. It's not basically hampering my daily functioning. So let it go on. So maybe I'm facing some irritation issues. Okay, let it be. It happens. But when all of these situations, which are just minor, it's not basically affecting any of your functioning, then and if it is prolonged, then it basically hampers with your uh, increases your stress level. So these are already in your body starts indicating before you turn before even you are aware that actually you are facing a stressful situation. So basically people ask me, how would I know that I'm facing a stress or I'm facing an anxiety? So your body is the first that will start indicating you. It will give you symptoms. And it could be like, if you talk about a physical symptom, basically a shoulder ache or a headache or a backache or constipation, any kind of bowel movements. These are the physical symptoms which actually will give you a hint that something is wrong with which a stress which is already there in your life has started affecting your body. Could be an emotional symptoms, like your irritation or an anger or isolation, where you are unable to handle it. So these all things have we have to be aware that these are basically going to hamper our body. Finally we have to function with the body. So become aware of things that make you feel stressed. And remember, as I shared, your body starts indicating much in advance. the way you feel under the stress. Keep noticing, and if you can make a diary where you can note down that exactly how did you feel the entire day. So that itself will give you a hint that exactly how do I feel. See, as we all know that for almost 3 months we are in this situation. So and we government is playing its role, the schools are playing the role. Everybody's trying to bring some solutions for whatever the resources which are available. So let us accept the things as they are, because if we if we face if we cannot accept the things as they are, it's going to be more problematic or a problematic for us. And secondly, let's cope with stress. So how to cope with stress? As Chetna already mentioned, number of activities that we can do at home, which can actually help us to cope with our stress. It's the best way is, your physical relaxation techniques. You know, I just a very simple thing. If you just press your fist very tightly, you can just feel the pressure. You can feel the stress in your wrist, and as you leave it open, you can feel the blood circulation, and you can feel the flow of the blood if, when you left it. It's the same, similar kind of thing we have to observe in our life. Situations are where they and situations are there, but the only thing is we have to cope in the with the available resources, because initially the resources were more and we did not had boundaries with the resources, but now we have boundaries with what the resources are available. So and our mind is not that trained enough to to think in a bit box, and that is the reason majority of the people are facing problem with coping. And one thing we always need to understand that coping always will very first start with your breathing exercise. So the more you have it, see, not necessary that you do a meditation or you do any kind of mindfulness techniques, anything that makes keep you happy. Even dancing could also could be a way of coping. As somebody even mentioned that music, listening to music also could be a way of coping. So we have to discover whatever is available that can help us to cope with our stress. So cycling, swimming. I know swimming is not possible right now. So even anything that is available into our resources, which wherever we can have a physical exercise around us, the resources which are available for us, that can help us to uh, with the breathing exercise will help us a lot in coping with this stress, right? And the time for beat to action for the stress. So let's take, let's not be there, and let's understand that where are the stresses. So what are the stresses which are already affecting and has started affecting onto our body, and let's eliminate those stress from our life. Not totally, because see, anything is not going to happen on day of magic. We have to trust, take just one thing that you feel comfortable. Like for example, I feel that I have today I'll start a 5 minutes of breathing. Breathing has to be quick, a very deep, hold it and leave it. If you can just follow this technique for even for 5 minutes, start anything, cannot be start at a jump of 30 minutes or a 40 minutes. Just start for 5 minutes daily, and on a daily basis increase your time. So this is going to help you to manage, because the level of the things that is going to be balanced in this entire circumstances will really help you to cope with everything that is around you, not only the the stress, all the negative emotions, because anything that is affecting your body physically and emotionally takes you in a longer run, and it's hamper your physical and mental well-being. Next slide, please. So here I'm just sharing a very very quick and very beautiful techniques which will help you to battle with anxiety. See, we all know that now as a counselor, we have kept our lines open for all the people, basically for all the students. But even you can, I'm just mentioning the trusted person, because anyone, because there could be at times you want to share something which you don't want anyone else to know. So it's better you pick a person who is could be a professional, would be the best. Otherwise, any trusted adult to whom you can talk it out. Because see, if you keep compiling whatever the emotions are, especially negative, see, because it happens that it's by default that whenever we are happy, when you're facing a positive emotion, we want to share with other. We openly call up and share with people that, oh, I'm happy, I'm happy for this, I have received this achievement. But when it comes to negative, we always scare ourselves, we always hold ourselves, we don't share with people. So pick a trusted adult and please share whatever you're going through. Don't limit that, I cannot share what the person is going to think about it. Don't have any kind of conversation with yourself that what is going to happen. Just share. And with this thing, a lot of people have skipping the meals because they feel that we because of the inactivity we are unable to eat, we don't feel hungry. Just body needs that food at that point of time. So this is going to have this is going to help you, your body to be in a balanced state. And whenever basically many times we skip our meals with caffeine. Could be we just take up a tea or a coffee, but that is not an alternative. Because see, caffeine has a thing to hold your hunger, or it will not make you feel hungry. So that solution is really not going to help you in a longer run. And whenever we are when we are really feel that oh, I don't feel like hungry, I just want to have a cup of coffee. But coffee or tea is not a right solution when you specifically you feel that you want to avoid food. And many a times it happens that you are bound with certain responsibilities at home, and you want to have certain commitments with your friends or with your family members. Just learn to say no. Because majority of time we feel that, oh, my friend is going to feel bad about it, or what am I going to what am I if I say no, maybe whatever connection we have right now, it's again going to break. So just think about it that you are most important to other people, but your saying no is not going to break any relationship. Always learn to justify that why did you say no, and always in a very polite way you can learn to say no. And yes, enjoy each moment. Because see, you are the let's say a positive, as the Chetna ma'am already mentioned, the positive part of this is that let us lot of positive things have happened around us. Let us cherish, love the moment that we have with our family. Because initially we used to get time with our family also, but that was very limited. But currently we have a good amount and ample amount of time with our family. So let's cherish those moments. Let's be together. Because currently we do not have any outdoor activities. At least wherever indoors we are, let's balance with those mindset, balance with those energies which are around you. I like this, so I'm just sharing with my presentation also. They uh, mild fragrance or mantra chanting, if it's available around your room, it really gives you soothing experience. Whatever the bad shape or whatever the bad condition you are. Because as an individual, you just cannot stop something coming to you, but at least you can manage, you can hold that. Okay, I just want to be here with myself. So this technique also works best when you are going with an anxiety. Walk it off, or as I mentioned, breathing exercises, it really works very well. Because your body and system gets used to, and it gets a good flow of what thinking, what you are in a current state of mind. It gives you really nice experience. And as I shared with you that because we do not walk a lot, we do not move around a lot, so we don't feel like drinking a lot of water. But consume enough liquid. Could be a lemon water, fresh fruit juice, or a water, what is available around you, please consume it. Because otherwise people are bound to face a lot of health issues which could be related to consuming less amount of water. And very important thing is, see, we all are spending good amount of time on screen, because either we are having classes, either we are conducting the classes, either we are attending the webinars. But or many times, children, when the weekends, they are watching movies as well or playing games as well. But we have to understand that before sleep, if we spend a lot of time, you know uh, watching a movie or anything before sleep, I'm mentioning clearly before sleep, then it's going to really affect, the our sleeping patterns. And if your sleep and your food habits are, you know affected, or is creating a problem, then it's going to affect the entire cycle of, and it's going to not reduce your stress, but it's going to increase the stress. So if let's follow the simple ways to battle with our anxiety, because it it will off track you for what you are thinking currently at this point of time. Okay. As in my very first slide, I mentioned that, what is a normal stress or an anxiety, and what is an abnormal anxiety. See, any anxiety or stress which is, it's not affecting or not interfering with your daily functioning, it's normal. Because anything, because we are a human being. Every day we come across number of situations where we have to take up stress, but that stress is for a very limited time period. But when the stress exceeds or its time limit, and it's still there with your body, then and your body is now is facing a lot of problem functioning, either physically or emotionally, then somewhere you need an professional help. So just remember, and some, as I've in the and I have already mentioned, that you can even speak to a trusted adult. That some, as I mentioned, one more thing, that your body will start indicating that there is something is wrong. Even a minor thing, don't ignore. Just look after it, because before it takes a turns to be a serious issue. And there is a time when, if still after even talking it out, and if you feel that the stress is a thing is not working it out, I think then you need a professional help. Because then talking to an adult or talking to a trusted person is not solving your situation. Then we need you I will suggest that then we have to take a professional help. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Suman. What a wonderful session it has been. Um, I'm particularly pleased, and there are several techniques that I learned, and I think I'll also apply. I really love the grounding techniques with the five senses, and also there is something that introduces mindfulness and gratitude, that teaches us what miss, like what Dr. Suman also said, like acknowledge the limited resources that we have, and there is always a safe and non-judgmental space around us where we need to talk and don't just harbor the emotions which are growing inside us. So thank you so much to both of you for discussing very important things. Now, I would like to take up, we have several questions in the Q&A. I would like to take up certain questions. I'll, and even before I take that, I have a very small poll which I would like to ask students to like just take a second and submit the poll before you even leave the session. Question is, due to the pandemic, a lot of really important exams are getting postponed, and thus the abundant study material as well. Like obviously, this portions add an additional burden and this cause stress. How do you suggest we avoid the stress of this from affecting our day-to-day study regimen?
Mhm.
Ms. Chetna, would you like to take this up?
Yeah, okay, I'll take that. Now, when you talk about, I mean, the pandemic, yes, of course, as I mentioned in my presentation also, that it's a situation which was unseen, which we were not prepared of. So, what best you can do in this particular situation is look at, I mean, try to prioritize that what is your goal right now. Now, I understand that a lot of the board examinations, their results have been withheld, or maybe there'll be a strategy, they're working on that part. Now, these things are completely out of your control. What is in your control is that how best you can prepare to be in the college of your choice or course of your choice. So just be in touch with that. The college, the course, the website where you can be, where you can check the latest status of that what is, because what I have observed is that the entrance exams are also being postponed again and again because of the, we are not prepared, any one of us is not prepared for online activities as of now, and that too in masses. Now, the other thing which I would like to mention here for all of you is that do not try to compete with anyone, their situation. See, I or Suman, or for that matter Bhumi, we are in different situations as an adults, and we as an adult, we can understand that what is the best we can do in this particular situation. And that is where you have to understand that, okay, what are your financial conditions in family, just speak to your parents about it, and whether you need that resource right now to work on that, that is also very important. So as a student, as a learner, what you need to do best is that you give your best and see, as I mentioned in the reflection, that just check that what you are not prepared for and start working on it. Now when you're doing something better, something workable, something positive, so that gives you the confidence, okay, yes, I have achieved something in my day. I'm not talking about the months, I'm not talking about the year, I'm talking about your day to day goals. So if suppose somebody I could see, so I'm taking that opportunity, Bhumi, to answer that question parallelly also, that some of the person mentioned that how do I manage that if I suppose I have planned my exercise and I have to help my mom for something. Now there could be, I work in kitchen, okay, I do my workout in kitchen also while making tea, so I could do some kind of push-ups there as well. So that is how you have to adapt. Now if you will see, there is a whole WhatsApp university going on where people are talking about the motivation, okay, you can do this, you can do that, but then it is your situation where you can start working on in within your circumstances, that okay, which is my priority. Of course your mother needs help first, so you have to help her, but you can manage something that okay, let's do this particular activity at that point of time, so maybe you can shift your exercise time in the evening. And that is how, and this is where I'm coming for two important questions which are going to help you survive in this future also. Is one is your adaptability question, that are you able to adapt the situations or not, or you just bring stress on yourself and others, this will not work. Second is your adversity question, and adversity is something like this pandemic happened to all of us, so how am I able to, and if you will see, I think all three of us are looking good, okay, and that's what you need to see yourself, that okay, am I looking presentable when I am on anywhere. It's not that you just have to get ready for someone else, but you have to get ready for yourself, that okay, this is how I have to maintain myself. And that's where your daily minute motivation will come from. That's what I would like to say in that. And if you have to add something, Suman, to it, so you can do that, please.
Chetna, very well you have answered this question.
Yeah, so we can move to another
Yeah,
one.
we can,
Yeah,
move
so
to that.
the next question is the goal setting works. I think you covered a lot of the aspects of
Yeah,
this
I
question as well.
was going through the
Yeah,
question because, and the time limit is there
right.
for all of us. So
So you covered this question, right? And how can we enhance our communication skills?
okay, the communication is, the more you speak, the better you will be. Okay, and if you are, and it's a very simple, now understand one fact. I'll just mention two things here for you, and I think that will answer most of your questions. So, and you can then choose that which one we have to answer. When you talk about communication skills, it does not happen in a day, it does not happen by, it has to happen with the conscious efforts you are making daily. And the best way is, and I'm talking about with my experience with a lot of students of across every age group, whether you stutter, whether you stammer, whether you're listening, or maybe you have low confidence. The only thing that can help you is just stand in front of the mirror for 15 minutes and blabber whatever you want to do, and then you check, record it, and you see yourself that where you went wrong. It's a kind of a self-coaching mechanism which has worked with my students or my clients a lot, and that will also help you. Now, and why the premise for this particular thing comes from, you never practiced, you never understood the nuances of your mother tongue, that you learned because you were imitating your immediate members who were there in your circumstances, in your environment. So if they taught you something wrong, I mean, in the sense that something which is not correct, you learned that. And that's where your communication skills will come from. Now, of course, once you have that basics, there are some coach which are, I mean, there are certain apps, mobile apps, where you can learn about how to pronounce those words, because that is very, very important when you are talking to someone professionally or otherwise. Also, your pronunciation, your way of communication has to be very, very impressive. And that will happen over maybe 6 months or a year, but that will happen to you. So just start trying in front of the mirror. That will work. That will be the first step. And see that how your body language is, how your face gestures are, how your hand movement is. That is very important for all of us to understand the communication skills, because this is how your non-verbal communication happens around like 75%. And so that's where you have to start your first exercise with. The second thing I think I'll cover in this particular ways is that when we people are talking about stress, I wanted to bring it in my presentation, but due to lack of time, I did not do it. So the stress particularly is kind of a trigger that happens. So stress in individually is not a negative word. Please understand that fact. As I spoke about the number line, so if you go on the negative side is distress, okay, and if you move on the positive side of it is eustress. Now this eustress works when, suppose I was getting ready for this presentation and suddenly Bhumi and I realized that, okay, my mic is not working. So was I stressed? No. Did it give me some kind of jitters? Yes, because I have to, I mean, maybe there is a technical fault. Now, why I'm taking these simple examples which are happening in day-to-day life is very important that we need to understand. So, and when you're going on a stage, or when you are going for an interview, when you're going for a group discussion or any PI, because you are applying for colleges and courses, it's very important that you have to understand the difference between the stress and the, I mean, eustress and the distress. Now, eustress works positively towards your motivation that, okay, you'll be able to do better. And that's where, so if you are able to accomplish something, if you are able to achieve something, that helps you in doing 10 more steps. And if suppose somebody told you in your past that, okay, you were not good at that particular task, and you started taking in, I mean, you just take that emotion in, that's where your stress will start. Okay, so that's, I hope I've been able to answer that particular question, because I saw some of them asking about that, how do you manage stress? That is how you manage stress yourself, that, okay, find the pattern, break the pattern. There will be a trigger. The trigger could be anything from non-living thing or the living thing I'm talking. So because I'm not naming any relation here, so you have to find the trigger for yourself, that, okay, this is where this particular feeling, emotion comes to me, and that is where you have to start breaking that pattern. That's very important.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. So there are a couple of questions which are on similar lines, but I would just like to answer them together.
Okay.
Like, how would you suggest we handle the parents' pressure? And the other one is, which a student has asked, if like parents sometimes do not understand a teenage mind, they scold us in small things and do not try to understand this. What do we do about this? So I think this both questions are about the parental, like
Parent
handling
pressure.
the parental pressure. So yeah, like Dr. Suman or
Suman,
Ms.
yeah.
Chetna, would you like to answer this? Yeah,
Suman, you take that and I'll add up.
right.
See, nowadays even parents are stressed. So see, we need to understand, one thing that, see, look, everybody feels that this is the time frame where, we want that our kids should not be left behind. They should be in this race to, reach the, very first point, and they should achieve everything in whatever the time is available. They need to utilize the best.
Mhm.
So, parents are always, I'm just talking first from the parents' point of view, then I'll come from to the students' point of view as well. So parents also feel that, let's have this, nothing should be left behind. So they need to attend each and every webinar that's coming up. Any class should not be missed up. So parents are pressurizing the kids. But see, whether to take up the pressure and to how much to take up the pressure is absolutely from to the student. See, and as now even the I would say the parents have been back to their, I would say, the work life. So even they are also feeling stressed. So everything comes on to kids. So that is another aspect to deal about. But understand from a student's point of view, we need to understand, and rather all the students who are listening over here and all the counselors and the parents, understand that children, they everybody has their own capacity. They cannot, take in beyond that capacity.
Mhm.
So whatever till whatever, if I can eat only two chapati, you cannot have, grab it 4 or 5 chapatis. So we need to understand children that if you are already you're feeling the parent passion, just talk to your parent. Don't leave, keep this to yourself that, something is bothering you or something you cannot do it. Because pressure is felt when you are try to squeeze everything into, one pressure cooker, and things will go is going to blast up. So if you feel that and majority of the students or the people feel that, if they talk about answer is going to remain no, not necessarily that answer is going to remain no. It could be they may try to understand. So, or you feel that you're scared talking to your father or scared talking to your mom. Best would be, start talk to someone where you feel that the person is going to listen to you, and then, pass on the communication. But best would be if you feel that you're feeling the pressure, talk it out. Don't limit, keep it to yourself and keep, tolerating that, squeezing yourself into that situation for a longer duration, because it will affect you in a health wise also, and it will not allow you to concentrate into any of the activities which you're doing alongside studies. So best talk it out to your parents if you feel that is something is disturbing you.
Yeah, I think I'll just add few things here, and because see, you have to understand the others. When I was talking about social awareness, it is also important for every learner or every parent or educator to understand that the, how are other people in that situation. Are we understanding their perspective also? And the best way is when people are talking about 21st century skills, so it is about the negotiation which has to happen. It is the communication which has to happen. So I would not shout on my kid, or I would not rather be loud in my expression when I'm talking to any one of my colleagues of or my students or anybody of any age. That's the first rule which all of us have to imbibe in ourselves. And then maybe yes, when you talk about parent pressure, please understand where it is coming from, like what is the reason for that particular thing, where it is coming from. And that will happen only when you will have your, I call them dinner table conversations, but not necessarily on when you are dining, but on the table. It's kind of a round table conversation which you need to have, and let everybody speak up. And that could be done once in a week, because but right now, I mean, the parents are also in pressure because weather. So understand. And for parents also, it is important that you're not hiding your financial situations from your kids. I mean, why I'm talking about this particular thing from my perspective is a 3-year-old child also knows if their parents are undergoing divorce.
Very true, very true.
They have spoken to me as a counselor about it, that ma'am, this is what is happening in my family. Now the parents are completely unaware of the fact that this 3-year-old child cannot understand. He might not understand the word divorce, but then he understands that there's something going on. So do not take your kids or children as dumb. They are very, very smart. That's one thing. And for you as adolescent or teenager, you don't have that experience what your parents have. Please understand that fact. So that where, so you have to negotiate about it. If suppose it is the pressure is coming for your academic performance, that why you are not performing, so you show that okay, this is what I'm doing my best, and that's where now you help me out, that what best I can do, as you understand me as a parent more. If it is a, if suppose you are doing, it's like a simple thing that if you want to have a pizza one day and you coax your parent, you pamper them that, okay, no, Papa, let's have, I mean, I need to have it today. Let's just one, and then I'll do this particular work. It's the same thing. You have to think about the negotiation skills. That's very, very important. There's no reason of fighting. There is no reason to be loud by anyone for that matter. And you have, if you allow me to bring something here on this forum, is something that you're seeing around, that even people have money, even people are successful, even people have lot of social media friends. There is something wrong happening around us. And that's where we have to look around, that, okay, how we are going to do that. And that's where your self-awareness, your self-management will come from. Never lose hope for yourself. There is always a way. If you are born, you have a purpose. Please understand that fact. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much. There is another, I think, important question we should address ma'am, if we are having constant thoughts of self-harm and doing it because you hurt someone or live up to their expectations, what should I do?
Yeah, so I think I could read that somewhere. So the thing is that, why can't we speak? I mean, what is the reason that I can't speak on that forum? What will happen if, suppose, if I've hurt somebody, if I have stolen something, or if even if I have done some harm to someone, wouldn't it be the right way that I go to that person, talk to them personally about it, that, okay, this happened, and trust me, this is just a one step which you have to make. If the other person is not taking that step, you have to do that and just talk about it rather than harming yourself. I mean, understand that when I started this particular webinar with gratitude is why, because all of us are here. Even if 70, 80, 100 people are here listening to each other, understanding from each other, we are blessed. We are blessed in the situation that we still have a laptop or a mobile to listen to each other. We have that privilege, and that's what you have to feel gratitude for. That's what you have to feel positive for, rather than harming yourself, because I understand from where it will come. But then when you are in that situation, any counselor or any psychologist or any person will not be there, but you yourself has to come out of that situation, keeping your thoughts positive and thinking of one good thing that is there in your life, one good reason, one good person. Or maybe, if suppose, in a situation, there is a situation where you think that, okay, there is no hope for me, okay, let's say that. But then, am I capable of, as a person, since I have everything in my life, my full body, my full mind, a conscious mind, can I use that particular entity of mine to help others? That's where your motivation will come from, and you will never think of self-harm. Just try, find the purpose of your being in this particular world, is in this universe, which looks very spiritual, but then, yes, this is the way we have to find out. And the Western world is also talking about it, because mindfulness is that what you have, feel happy for that. If you, and then the same reason that if you have hurt somebody, go out and talk. Ego is nothing. Ego is not going to do anything to any one of us. So there's no point of keeping it with us. And then that is what. And if you have something like, if you feel that people, stop comparing yourself, stop looking at others in the sense that, okay, they are better than me. No, whatever you have received from the universe, you are in better position than millions of other people who are not in that position. Please understand that fact and be gratitude and be thankful for that particular.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
there is another question.
Yeah.
So, can you please give us some examples of how to say no politely? Would you like to take this up, Dr. Suman?
No for.
Or how would you say no politely? No for
Okay.
is not
Yeah.
mentioned, but I
So
think,
politely.
When, yeah, you can
yeah,
take it up.
See, as an individual, I need to understand that what is in priority to me. If
Mm.
I have a 30 minutes or a 40 minutes, and I have, like example, I have to present this webinar, I have to be in a panel over here, and at the same time I have some other responsibility. So I have to choose one, something that is more important and more prior to me. And politely in a mean to say that, where the person is neither going to hurt and will understand that what is important for you at that point of time, but not necessary that for that person that might be important. Something which is important for me might not be important for that person, so that's okay. See, you cannot keep, see, majorly what happens that if the person feels bad about something, you cannot keep in the brain of somebody and that, exactly how you felt about. But the body or is going, or the or maybe expression, you will come to know that, some person either has felt bad about it. But then you did not had the intention, so your volume, your pitch has to be a way enough that you have said no, and uh, you have shared to the person that something what is important to you, you have given it a priority, and the other person who is opposite to you need to accept it. Now how the person takes it up, whether the person feels a rude way or a polite way, that depends on the person, but it's in your perspective that how did you say no to that person. That is basically the polite way.
Definitely. Okay. So there is another question. How do you deal with the uncertainty that one very crucial year of your academic life might get wasted?
Okay,
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
want me to take that?
Yeah, you can
So
take
there's
this.
nothing called wasted per se, because every one of us is in the same situation, and you have to look at the larger perspective of the world right now. That if suppose I mean, your parents also, for that matter, if suppose they are at a position which is very high, so they are trying to upskill themselves also, so that they can survive in this market, in the job market also. And that is what, so if you are reading consciously about certain things, because you people are preparing for college, you're preparing for life, I would say. So you have to understand that what is going to happen, what is the future situation which is going to take place. So there's nothing like this that okay, the situation will be, so you can't have control over certain elements in your life and circumstances in your ecosystem. What you can do best is that you start working on yourself, and then look around what is the best thing which you can do for yourself in this particular situation. So uncertainty will always be there, even if you have, there have been instances that people, I mean, like 15 lakh students appear for the entrance exam of JE or NEET, and then how many of them are selected in spite of their best preparation? So if the plan A doesn't work, go for plan B, and that's how. So life will never stop. This will be this will carry on. Only thing is that you have to be happy, and you have seen, I mean, I can give you numerous example of people who tried to be successful because of a said path, and then suddenly in their 40s or 50s they come back to their hobbies or passions. Then that's where, because the realization happens later, the circumstances change. So there's nothing, life starts at every step when you are moving ahead of it, rather than moving backwards. That's what is very important for all of us to understand.
And the problem is that we compare, with other
Mm.
people, that where are we in the race.
Yeah, so
And
I don't, I mean,
there
yes.
the problem is created, and you feel that you are somewhere you are not with the person, or somebody is ahead of you, so you want to just rush up. But
So
let's not
yeah,
compare ourselves.
true. I think this whole, I mean, paradigm shift has to happen with the race thing, because there is nothing called race. This pandemic has taught us enough that it's the nature which is supreme. There is something which is there in the universe which is supreme, which is beyond our control. So we should adapt to it and work according to that. That is what I would say.
Sure. Yeah, and I think even what you mentioned, Dr. Suman, that also addresses another question which a student has asked about peer pressure.
Hmm.
So thanks for mentioning that. And I think so because you had to leave sooner, and like we want to take this moment and thank you all. Do you have more time, or do you have to leave now?
It's okay, 5 10 minutes is not an issue.
Yeah,
Some
there are a few questions which we can take.
Right?
I would rather prefer that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
so let's do that.
Yeah, but Dr. Suman, do let us know whenever you think
yeah,
you
yeah.
need to leave and running out of time. Yeah, so I think we addressed this question of peer pressure. Then how do we stop procrastinating?
Okay. So, do you
Yeah.
want to take that, Suman?
Yeah, go ahead, Chetna. It's okay.
Okay, so procrastination is something which people take it in a very, different manner, and you have to identify your strengths and weaknesses for that matter. And I'll give you a very simple, example of myself here, because whenever I have to make a presentation or whenever I have to work, so my procrastination works in a very different manner, that I am just constantly thinking about that how I'm going to present that part, or how am I going to work on my final project. But my ultimate record or documentation comes on in the last 3 days. Okay, now when people talk about timetabling or time management, what you have to understand is that, okay, that am I able to, so understanding your strengths and weaknesses. So suppose a student who's doing mathematics, who's good in mathematics, might be able to do it in half an hour. There's other student who wants to do it, who is willing to do that, but because of some lack of logical abilities, is not able to do that, and in half an hour, but maybe in 2 hours or 2.5 hours or 3 hours. Okay, and that's where the hard work and smart work comes in. And so one who's good in social science might not be good in mathematics or any other subjects, or maybe any other skills which we are talking about. So once you identify that part of yours, that okay, this is how it works for me, and that's where your journey will start towards working better. So procrastination happens, but then you have to see that okay, whether it is working in favor of me or it's not working in favor of me. And if it does not work in favor of you, so you have to change your habit and you have to start working on it. Timetabling, when we talk about, so it's not very hard compartmentalized thing. Please understand that fact. When I'm making my to-do list on my mobile, I do that so that I know that what task I have to achieve in my day-to-day working. But it does not matter that if I suppose I'm not able to finish one task and I have spent more time on that. So you have to not very strict to yourself, not very rigid for that timetable management. You have to just be very okay, just have some time in your week, this timetable, that okay, that's if I'm doing 4 subjects in Monday to Friday, so Saturday Sunday keep that unstructured time, that where if suppose you are not able to do something in the first 4 days or 5 days of the week, I'll do that on weekend. That is how the timetable has to be managed. The time management is nothing that okay, if we are not robots, please understand that fact. We have emotions, we have expressions, we have people around us, which, and we have priorities. So these 3 4 things will always interfere into your timetabling, so don't worry about it. Just have a goal from a day or a week or a month, and then see that whether you are able to manage that time or not. And with my experience, why I'm telling you this is because I have seen students who do subject in month wise and they are the toppers, and there are students who will do it daily, and because they have understood themselves well, that okay, this is how I'm going to. So if you have a retention power of a 2 months or 3 months, it works for you, that you are taking a gap for one subject or the other. That is how you have to go about it. I hope I'm able
Awesome.
to answer that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I think this is another question is on based on the tricks that you shared, Dr. Suman, earlier, that like normal techniques like meditation and thinking positive sometimes do not work with everyone.
Mhm.
So, what would you do? Would you like to take this out, Dr.
Can you
Suman?
repeat the question?
Yeah, so the attendee is asking normal techniques like meditation and thinking positive sometimes do not work with everyone. So, what to do?
See, when I talk about relaxation techniques or a meditation technique, I would prefer that you always start with 5 minutes and something which you cannot just do a one day single day and you leave the other day. It needs a continuity, and you need to start with the 5 minutes and you need to increase the time, because see, your body is going to adapt that technique, and when there's a free flow of oxygen level into your entire body, it releases the extra toxins which is already I will piled up in your entire body. So this release will happen. So if somebody is following this breathing techniques or a meditation technique, make sure they will follow every day, because I have already done a research, a study, and it says that when you practice certain breathing techniques, on relaxation techniques on a daily basis, it is 101% going to affect in a, your overall body in a very positive way. So if you have already started, make sure that you follow that technique on a daily basis without missing a single day.
Awesome. So there is the first question. I think that the student is trying to ask. That recently has been a lot of positive awareness spread throughout the country, but there is a stigma around mental health. So for a teen that is suffering from anxiety and any other mental health issues, I think the student is asking that is there any recommended outlet for them to where they can like any safe space where they can reach out to? Would you like to take up this, Ms. Chetna? And I think because you also mentioned, okay, I think she's there, but we would. You want to take this up, Dr. Suman, and I can also add up
You
about
want
what
to
we have
share
learned
you
about
want the source?
NCRT.
What are you asking?
Yes, the student is asking for the recommended outlet where they can go and talk to if they're not able to talk to their parents or someone else
I think
about the
Chetna would be the best
insecurities.
person
Yeah,
because
I would love to take that question.
Yeah.
Okay, so to again, one thing is that I think Bhumi has already shared in the chat that we have kind of a website where there are around 300 trained counselors, and the counselors, when I say, is they are the psychologists, which are trained by NCRT, which is a national body, and we are all on the this that you can find out in your region, and you have their email IDs and phone numbers and their timings for contacting them, so you can connect with them, anyone which you feel that okay you can do that. So there are around 300 counselors around the country which are currently helping the students for their college applications, admissions, also the concerns I'm talking about, and of course the mental health related concerns also, that I understand, because I receive around like 7 to 10 calls or messages every day to handle that. And then and why it is important that when Suman spoke about that, why you have to speak, when you should decide about, if suppose you feel that your parents or your any friend or is not supportive of we are just a call away. Okay, that's what you need to do. At least for me, I can say that because it is available on that. And otherwise there are certain websites also or helplines also where you can call and talk about it anonymously. It helps you that okay you don't know the person, so you are comfortable also. And I would not mind saying that I have handled certain questions which you would not even ask to a counselor in person also. But then that's what happens, because mental health is not about that when you are in a crisis you should go about it. It's all about that okay, if you are feeling stuck somewhere, please immediately talk to some adult, trained adult who can help you.
trained
Okay, that's very very important for us.
professional person. Yes.
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 I think there are many questions, but considering the paucity of the time, I would like to
Yes,
take up this as the last question of the session. Um, that okay, there is a student who has asked, like every time I start to manage my anxiety and try to cope with the social situations, I start feeling better, but after a couple of days, everything returns. How can I cope with this better on a long-term basis?
You want to say that the virtual social how
Yeah, so I can repeat the question. I think the student is, the attendee is trying to ask that they are able to manage anxiety and stress with the social situations like for a few days, but after a couple of days, everything returns back. So, what to do, like some techniques for a long term basis?
see techniques. So I have already shared in the one of the slides, but to an additionally, I would just add over here. See, if something is not working for you, then you have to explore some other techniques. Because see, techniques, what I have shared you, it's a very general, but something you have to adapt or pick up the one which suits best to you. If you feel that talking only to your friends is really helping you to relieve your anxiety or stress, it's just one of the techniques that you have found it out. Look for something else, because see, friends might not be available all the time. See, yes, you can have as one of the option that yes, whenever they are available, I can talk to them and I can relieve my anxiety or relieve my stress. But there could be something else, uh, you know adapting to music, or talking to your maybe pets. if somebody have, they can talk to their pets, or some you can just look into your mirror and talk to yourself that what exactly you need for yourself. So you have to find in ways out which are as even I have mentioned in the presentation, that look for the resources that are available around you. So something which has already you were working on and it's helping you out, look for something else also which can help you to relieve your anxiety and stress.
Very true.
Let me
Yeah,
let me add
yeah,
to this,
sure.
because I could see few questions on that. If suppose you have some experience in the past, how do you move away from that particular situation? Is so, and Suman and I both will agree on that. That when we as therapists or as psychologists, what is the misconception with the people is that you come to us, we do some talking, and maybe after 4 5 sessions you are done. No,
No.
you have to understand, we do not advise, we do not suggest. That's the first myth which I need to debunk on this forum, is that we don't do that at all. So if suppose even if you're contacting me virtually, so there would be certain tasks once I have your profile understanding. I mean, when I'm saying profile, so not a college profile, but the behavioral profile. So I understand that when you're talking about that, okay, after doing, I mean, some exercises, some techniques for this meditation. So it is something like you taste ice creams of different flavors, and then you see that, okay, this one suits me, suits my taste bud more. So same thing happens with anxiety, stress, depression, or something, that we work with you, understanding your circumstances, understanding your environment. And the simple example of this would be, suppose if I'm giving you some techniques from my side after having a session, that okay, this is what you're going to do. But your trigger at home is that maybe your father shouts on you, or your mother shouts on you, or anybody else in the family shouts on you, and you immediately react to that situation. Now, the conscious effort has to go from your side. The, the work has to come from your side, that, okay, this is what my counselor or the therapist suggested me. So I have to work on that part. And this is how I move. It work, well and good. If it might not work, then we decide some other strategy, that okay, this is what. So when you talk about, like when I'm talking about grounding techniques also, so if suppose you are anxious in a situation where, let's say, your 5 friends are there and they are talking about, because somebody spoke about of the social life also, that if they are, we compare constantly. So if I see that they are putting on their Instagram or their Facebook their pictures which are like, okay, they are doing well in the even in this lockdown also. Now, how do I shift my focus from this particular part to another one? That's where, so when I have my goals, when I have my priorities, when I have decided that this is what I'm going to do in life, that's where your whole preparation comes from. That's what I would like to add here to this.
Yeah, that's wonderful conclusion as well to the
Yes.
session. Now, yeah, so we have had several questions which we could not answer, and there were also questions about, where can people find more information about things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we've mentioned few links here and few resources for the students, school officials, or counselors, as well as the parents. Of course, you cannot access the links here, so we have also posted them in the chat box, which you can access. So here is one link which Chetna has also shared with us, and she talked about it earlier, about the NCRT trained counselors region wise. Yes, yes.
I mentioned one more here because I think the parents are also attending it. So there is a wonderful resource which has been created by the MHRD. So if you will type on Google Mano Darpan, okay, that is what you have to type, Mano Darpan website. You will have all the resources for everything possible for mental health also, and the university students also, those who are preparing right now. Because and I have seen those resources, they are wonderful because we utilize them for our counseling sessions also. So you can look at that as an educator, as a parent, or as a student, and that will help you a lot. That is what.
Thank you so much. We'll also include that in the resources.
Yes, please
And
do.
yes, definitely. And the other resources which are available, you can join us on amfutureready.com website. You can register, and we will connect with you soon after that. For the school officials and counselors, if you want to connect with like-minded people like Ms. Chetna and Dr. Suman, you can also join us in the Facebook group that we have, and the link for the same is also shared in the chat box.
Mhm.
Yeah. So with this, I think we have covered everything and lot of helpful information. We'll share the takeaways with the students. Do you have any concluding remarks, Ms. Chetna?
Yes, I would just say that, as I mentioned, stay safe, stay connected, and stay relevant. And if you will go on this website, my number, my email ID, and the timings are there. I know, I understand, because we as Gen Next and we were not able to answer certain questions, and there could be certain personal questions also. So at least I'm available to answer those questions for all of you. Never lose hope and never quit. That is what I'll say. There is always a way when you're born. That is all is what I would. And again, thank you so much for listening. For those who stay till end, uh, you are the you are the warriors of Corona. So
Yeah.
thank you
Thank you so much.
so much, Bhumi, for
Yeah.
being here. And
You're welcome. Dr. Suman lost a connection, but she just messaged and she said that she has enjoyed the interactions and it has been very helpful. So we take this opportunity to thank both of you, Ms. Chetna and like Dr. Suman, who is not available here, but on the behalf of entire team of Gen Next and even the attendees, thank you so much for joining us this evening. And yes,
so
we
this
look
is
for
this is the new
collaborations.
hello. Yes. So namaste and take care of yourself. And good night. Have a good weekend.
Thank you so much. Thanks everyone. Bye.